Ross, we'll just start with Saturday. What's your reflections after the game?
It was a tough one to take, obviously. Two poor goals, but it's just something we've got to bounce back from now.
And we haven't spoken to you since you signed a new contract. Has this season gone better for you than you thought it was in terms of coming from National League North and then now all of a sudden you're League One number one?
Yeah, it's a bit different than what I thought it was going to be. Thought I was obviously going to play a few games here and there in terms of like the cup games, and obviously I've known Burgess from before, played against him a few times, and like he's one of the better ones in this division. So I knew it was going to be tough, obviously getting in, and you know it was only by a chance really that he got injured, and I come in and managed to keep the spot for the time being.
And that's the thing, like I guess with any position, but goalkeeper in particular, you have to. It's almost if you're at a number two, you'll almost wait for your opportunity. But you don't want it to come because you don't want either your teammates to get injured or have a bad game. And it's been unlucky for Lee, but you've certainly taken that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's the only thing I could have done really in terms of when I was called upon, and I mean, I always thought I'd get my chance in some way, shape or form. Obviously, you know, whether through an injury or illness or whatever. And you know, the good thing is I've kept myself ready and kept myself sort of mentally in the space, which is I'd say more important than anything, because there's no respite at this level. You know, you come in, you have to perform, and you have to do well.
Was that a tough thing to do? Because you said like you thought you'd be getting a few games here or there, but how hard is it to literally be ready to effectively do what you've done?
It's tough, yeah, it has been tough, but it's all about game time really in terms of getting into a rhythm of playing, and luckily, you know, I've got enough experience in that department to kind of manage myself through them times. You know, I've been through good times, been through bad times. So it has been easier as such, but it is still very difficult, you know, training every week and you know, coming to a Saturday and you're not playing, and obviously there's only one spot to play. So it has been tough, but now obviously I've just got to keep sort of as such keeping Burgess out of the team really as such.
And does it help that the fact that Lee's fit, he's a very good goalkeeper, so there's that real competition that you keep each other on their toes?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's really good because obviously, you know, like Lee's fit now is obviously, and like you say, he's a top goalkeeper at this level, and it's good because obviously we push each other, but there's a really good sort of camaraderie between us both, and something I wouldn't say I've had as such in previous years. You know, because it's very difficult. You know, obviously we both want to play and we're both in the picture every week as such, because you know the gaffer's made it very clear that there's not a number one as such. So yeah, I mean it has been difficult, but I think we've managed each other through the situation, and yeah, I mean he's a really nice guy to get on with as well.
And you obviously got great experience. Does that help, especially with, you know, how tight games are and how tight the league is at the minute, having that experience of, I'm sure you've been at the bottom of the league, you've been at the top of the league, you know, you're a level head in a squad that does have quite a few young players.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And like you say, I've been in different teams, you know, up and sort of at the bottom, at the top. Younger players, older players, so, you know, I'm classed as probably an older player now. When I probably was in a team where there were older lads, I was probably one of the younger ones. So, like I say, it's probably now just time to draw on that experience and just you know, between obviously myself and, you know, Guffs and, you know, the older boys, Crackers and Hosk and that, and just to sort of just as such settle everyone down and just sort of not let the panic set in, because there's not a time to panic. You know, we're doing well in a lot of moments in games, and it's just, you know, individual moments and split moments that are kind of costing us at the moment. So if we can eradicate them small minor errors, then I'm sure we'll be fine and sort of looking back up the table again.
And that's the thing. It's not been like a systematic problem. It's been errors, but because obviously you're built on the defensive solidity, does that put pressure on you? The fact that you're keeping more clean sheets than you're scoring goals, if you like. So it has that extra pressure that one slip up could be costly. Although I guess you don't think about it like that.
Not as such, no, because I mean it's the nature of the beast. That's what we get paid to do. That's what we love doing. You know, I mean, we love keeping clean sheets. We love defending. We love. I love making saves and kicking and all that kind of other stuff. And obviously the other boys do as well. But there's time and a place for, you know, where we're gonna have to sort of help them out. They're gonna have to help us out. And I think just in these last 4, 5, 6 games, it's obviously just been put on us a little bit more, which is what it is. And I'm sure soon they'll be the ones to help the back players out.
New contract then. How do you see the next 12, 18 months looking? Where do you hope you'll be come the time you're up for renewal again?
Hopefully to the point where, you know, we're probably activating the option or probably sitting down and potentially talking about another one. Again, obviously the main aim is to get as far up the table this season and then obviously reevaluate and then go again next year and I mean, on a personal note, just try and get as many games as I can at this level. Obviously it being my first season in League One and you know, luckily enough I've taken it in my stride as much as I could, and you know there's going to be tough times ahead and there's going to be better times, and again hopefully just as many games as I can.
I mean, it's quite like a bizarre career path, isn't it? Because usually you go, you know, as you in the National League, you would rarely then jump up to be a League One number one. But when you were with Scunthorpe last year, was this ever sort of like in your sights at all, or is it just something that an opportunity's come and you grasp it with both hands?
Yeah, I mean, there was interest. There was interest from a few clubs. I know that. Obviously, with the amount of clean sheets, I kept that season. Obviously, you know, granted, you know, some people were saying obviously it's in the Conference North, but effectively you still got to keep it. You've still got to do the job. You know, it's still a game over 90 minutes. The ball's still the same. The pitches are still the same as such. So you still got to do it. So I think for goalkeepers as such, it's different. I would say because you're still effectively keeping the ball out of the net. You know, so it's the exact same game. So obviously in the summer it was, you know, there were a few options and you know the gaffer called me and was just like, I said to him about obviously the options that were on the table and stuff, and obviously I'd known him from my time at Notts County, and yeah, he just said, listen, like, I want you to come in here and push Burgee and just see where we're at really, and just see if you can kind of revive your career as such, you know. So, you know, as soon as he said that, in terms of like the financial side, I didn't really pay attention to it. I was just like, yeah, I want to come and I want to play for you again, which was quite easy for me as such to make a decision really.
Cool. Thank you very much.
So you talk about your contract, obviously 18-month deal, potential 12 months on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
You've been at a few different clubs. Do you see now Northampton as being your home and somewhere to really sort of enjoy being at and maybe mid to long-term future?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I didn't see it panning out exactly how it has, but you know, it's worked out for the better, obviously personally. And to be fair, obviously when the club approached me a couple of weeks ago to obviously start negotiations, and for me, it was a very easy deal to get done. I loved being here. I loved it from the minute I walked in here. The setup's like incredible. Obviously in terms of where I've been at before. Obviously the management, like the players, like it was a really easy group to come into. Obviously the gaffer was a massive influence on it, and it's been much more easier for me than I thought it was going to be honest.
You said first season in League One. I mean, I suppose jumping up 3 divisions, they've been in League Two before, but jumping up 3 divisions, I suppose that's a real big quality. Have you noticed that difference in quality in games as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I'd say obviously you've got the surrounding factors in terms of crowds, in terms of clubs, and obviously that's the main factor. But I would say the game's similar. It's just a bit quicker. You know, the fundamentals are very similar. And then obviously on top of that, you've got your individual players that stand out from each team, and you know, and then the detail, the detail in terms of your analysis and all the bit behind the scenes that you probably don't get at conference level and conference north level, it really does step up. But in terms of the game itself, it's very similar. Well, what I found, you know, because the fundamentals are all the same. You know, keep the ball out of the net, be tidy and in your work and stuff, kick well, and you know you get through games. You know, it's weird.
And just on your own form, would you say your current form is just you feel as good as you ever have done in your career?
I would say so. Yeah, I think from pre-season, yeah, it's difficult as such because the last couple of years I've been playing at a level that I'm very, very comfortable at. You know, I mean, I didn't really. I mean, it ain't sounding big-headed, but I didn't really need to get out of second gear, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But obviously you come back into the football league and the quality does step up and you can see that. So you have to be ready. You know, physically and mentally at all times because you just never know what's going to happen. You know, chances can come out of nowhere and I mean. The level I was playing at, you can see chances coming a mile off, so you can prepare yourself way more than what you can at this level. So, you know, in terms of fitness wise and athletically, I've had to adjust my game, which I have done, and it's all for the better really because I feel much better in myself. I feel as good as I've ever been really, to be honest.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ross.